Right, good evening everybody. My name is Paul Maskall. I'm a cybersecurity and privacy consultant, and for my sins, I spent 6 years in law enforcement. So, for the final 2 years, from 2015 to 2017, I spent time as the local law enforcement cybersecurity advisor for Norfolk and Suffolk. So I essentially spent 2 years swanning up and down Norfolk and Suffolk in my little job Fiesta, talking and evangelizing aspects around cybersecurity, data protection, online safeguarding, and what I eventually have branched into is digital wellbeing. So I ended up, essentially, it was a glorified crime prevention role. I'm going out there to the public of different source, different sectors, discussing aspects around how to go about protecting yourself. It was a great job because it started off as, well, you'll do a few top 10 tips around cybersecurity and you'll be fine, which turned out to me basically engaging with about 8,500 people over the space of 2 years and doing radio interviews and doing TV and getting a really good national presence with City of London Police and National Crime Agency, industries on the rivers and things like that, and basically getting my traction going. And all of a sudden, what happened was, after 2 years of basically working my arse off, essentially in relation to engaging with businesses and building up communities to engage with cybersecurity, my superintendent turned around to me and he said, "So what have you actually done for us? What have you done for Norfolk and Suffolk?" And I was like, right, well, that's ridiculous. I'm going to go and measure that. Oh, crap. Crime prevention is impossible to measure. Because I could come and talk to you about cybersecurity, and I can talk about online safety, and I can talk about if you're going to protect your garden from burglars, but I cannot measure the impact. It is impossible. So if I come back down to a spreadsheet, the spreadsheet had, how many tweets have you sent out? Right, and how many people have you presented to, and how many organisations have you gone out to talk to? And it's like, well, yes, but I cannot measure the ability or the motivation of my audience to go away and actually do anything about it. I can go and swan about and talk about as much as I like, but there is no issue. And this is a universal problem. In the now societally, in relation to crime prevention and cybercrime fraud, we lose 5 to 10 billion pounds a year on fraud alone in this country. You look at cybercrime, cyber-enabled and cyber-dependent, and the fact is crime types, our government's very good at saying, yes, absolutely, crime stats are going down. Yes, because it's a darn sight easier for me to sit in my underpants in my bedroom and hack you from a distance rather than burgle you. So that's why crime stats are indeed going down. But the police, local authority, local government, and organisations are still measuring the benchmark against how many people we can arrest. It's like me setting up the cybercrime unit in 2015 with my sergeant and my chief inspector. Yes, we will investigate cyber-dependent crime and DDoS attacks. Right, how are we going to arrest them? Oh wait, if the NCA and the FBI and these guys can't do it, how is Norfolk and Suffolk Constabulary going to do this? Good luck with that. Right, fair enough. But no, that's where we're going to measure it. So I had this problem that actually almost universally law enforcement and times of austerity are bringing the funding down catastrophically for crime prevention roles in any field. The face-to-face, boots on the ground, individuals going out to people saying, actually, well, what we're here to do is protect people, but there's nobody left. There used to be one crime prevention role per county or per region, so Breckland, Kings Lynn. Now you have 1 or 2 per 2 counties. And you have less engagement and less individuals and less education and less awareness. So the problem is, because you can't measure a spreadsheet in times of funding, again, that's going to go down. So the actual ability to go out and give education awareness is going down, but societally, because of the shift in crime and shift in public safety, the need for it is going up. So the problem is again, the police will continue to measure it along the wrong benchmark. Same with the government, same with anywhere, because you can't measure crime prevention. So my principle is that when I started kind of coming together with this, is that I create the Jungo app. Now I started my company not with the idea of an app, I started as a consultancy and trainer, but actually the whole idea of the app is a demographic-based public safety conduit, essentially. So what you do is you sign up to the application itself and you put in your demographic. So say for instance, okay, I'm a student, so I'm 18 to 24 or whichever, I'm a student, but also I'd like to sign up to preferences in relation to information I want to hear about. So for instance, okay, I want to hear from Norfolk Constabulary, I want to hear from trading standards, etc. Generally speaking, you're not going to make that choice. Because if I say to you, who follows Norfolk Constabulary on Twitter or social media, very little people do that. But that is where crime prevention has been entirely pushed onto social media, because it's cost effective and we can measure how many tweets we send out. But actually, also, the whole prevalence of information and crime prevention and stats going out there is that this education and awareness needs to go out. Whether it is Mrs. Miggins being defrauded by doorstep crime, whether it is individuals around parents trying to protect their children online and having the speculation that comes from social media. So you create a demographic-based profile that is no link to your personal data in any way, shape or form. You create that profile and create the preferences, and you get information directly from an official source. So, for instance, you get police, trading standards, local authority, local safeguarding adults board, safeguarding children's board, all these different organisations with a duty of care to the public in which they serve, but locally. All these things are being centralised to actually having a local-based organisation sending you information around your safety, or whatever it may be, is absolute paramount, because nobody gives a crap about if the NCA are tweeting about it or a national body, because they are disembodied and non-relatable to the individuals in the local county. But the idea is that actually it's very well, actually this could be scaled up, because in a time where trust is essentially at an all-time low between local authority and police and the public, this provides an idea that actually we are engaging with you, or we are engaging with something that you actually have a preference towards. Now, at the moment, I've kind of done it backwards, essentially, because I ended up having this idea during a conference in November. 3 minutes. Yeah. Right. So I had this kind of idea in a conference in November. 4 sides of A4 comes together, and I pitch it to law enforcement, and they say, right, fantastic, go away and build it, and we'll launch it next year. Right, okay, fantastic. So I've actually essentially thought, right, okay, how am I going to go about doing this and launching it? So what's the existing market? So you have 42 different forces in the UK, all with different ways of doing crime prevention, all with different crime systems, all with different social media accounts, and all with different ways of doing it. You've also got local authority, you've got local government, you've got action fraud, you've got organisations around the City of London, and essentially you can go further afield. This is an international issue in relation to crime prevention because you can't measure it. But the biggest impact of the app itself is to fix that issue around the measuring. So when you go into the app and when you actually access the bits of part of the app, or you go into a notification from an official source, it logs the fact that actually you've gone into it. An ability to say, well actually, okay, well in a week's time you'll have a little notification basically saying, well actually, was this helpful for you? Did you take any of the information on board? Yes or no? Yes, absolutely. But that being able to feed back into law enforcement and local authority and government to say, well actually, yes, we have sent this information out and we have been able to measure it statistically based upon the demographics that we have in our local county or local organisation or across the board. To be able to map out what people's interests are in relation to their own safety and their own potentially local area. But the idea that actually, from what in reality, when we choose campaigns from law enforcement and police, oh well, we'll go and engage with these people. It's essentially picking what direction the wind is, and we'll go and put some posters up in doctors' surgeries because Mrs. Miggins has been defrauded another 250k. But this is the idea, is that my market essentially is anybody or any company that is an official source with a duty of care to the public in which they serve. So large banks, police, law enforcement, government, whoever that may be. And what I want to try and do, and again the strategy for growth going forward, is it's essentially a license model. So my closest competitor, in inverted commas, would be GetSafe Online. And they charge probably £10,000 to £12,000 a year to have a rebranded website, a social media package every month, and support with conferences. £12,000 a year for essentially a rebrand website, and that's it. And they get away with it because they are government funded. But the idea is having a license model for every organisation who wants to submit information to the app to be able to get a measured crime prevention stat in order to keep the public safe in their own county. And something that is measurable. But also, this is infinitely scalable. Because the fact is, essentially, what you're trying to do is actually say, well, actually, it's not just about online safety, crime, cybercrime, or anything like that. Actually, you can sign up for traffic, anything to do with public safety. Well, actually, Norfolk has a spate of doorstep crime or burglaries, etc. But being able to get that information out in real time is what we need. So thank you very much, everybody. My name is Paul Maskall, and I'm from Jungo.